You check your phone. You replay the last conversation. You wonder what you did wrong. You know this. This isn't a lack of self-respect. This is your brain hijacked. Your basal ganglia, one of the oldest and most primitive structures. In the human brain was never designed for modern relationships. It was designed for survival. It processes reward, pattern recognition, and threat response. And here is where everything gets disturbing. It cannot tell the difference between a person who is genuinely valuable to you and a person who is simply unpredictable. Unpredictability, to your brain, registers as high stakes. And high stakes trigger the same neural circuitry that makes slot machines impossible to walk away from. Think about that for a moment. The person who texts back after 3 days doesn't just feel better than someone who responds warmly and consistently. The delay, the silence, the cold shoulder, your brain has been processing all of it as a puzzle. And the moment they finally respond, the dopamine surge that follows is not normal. It is a spike. A chemical flood that a stable, loving response could never produce. Because stability doesn't activate the prediction error system. Prediction error is the mechanism your brain uses to learn. This is why a text from someone who ignores you feels electric. And why a text from someone kind and consistent feels, somehow, ordinary. Your brain is not rewarding love. It is rewarding the chase. And this is where the trap closes around you silently. Over time, your brain begins to associate the anxiety of being ignored with the intensity of eventually being noticed. The tension, the uncertainty, the low grade. Panic of not knowing where you stand. All of it becomes fused with what your nervous system starts to label as passion. As that rare feeling you can't explain. But here is the disturbing truth that psychologists have been circling for decades. What most people experience as romantic chemistry, that breathless, obsessive, consuming feeling is, in many cases, indistinguishable from a stress response. High cortisol, elevated heart rate, hypervigilance toward another person's behavior. Your body is not falling in love. In many of these cases, your body is in a mild state of threat. And your mind, searching for a story that makes sense, calls it destiny. The person who treats you warmly, who shows up consistently, who makes you feel safe. Your nervous system reads them as low stimulation, not because they are less valuable, but because they do not activate the survival loop. They do not trigger the chase. And so the brain, conditioned now to confuse anxiety with attraction, quietly deprioritizes them. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is a structural feature of how the human reward system functions. And it means that for many people, the relationships they crave most intensely are the ones most likely to harm them. And the ones most likely to be healthy feel, inexplicably, like something is missing. The first step out of this loop is not finding the right person. It is recognizing that what you feel in your body is not always a signal about another person's worth. Sometimes it is only a signal about your own neurology. You can begin to recalibrate. You can train your brain to find safety interesting, to find consistency worth staying for. But it requires something deeply uncomfortable learning to sit with calm long enough for calm to stop feeling like emptiness. And that raises a question that has no easy answer. If everything you have ever called chemistry was partly a stress response, partly a dopamine spike from being kept waiting, then what does it mean to genuinely love someone? And would you even recognize it if it didn't hurt? the science of why being ignored feels like an addiction.